Hello everybody! Today we're doing a fit up on a 200 series, which is what's going up in the air behind us. So this is a petrol V8 200. We're going to be using the Pacemaker King Brown system, extractors, the entire show on this truck. So we're going to get up in the air, we'll get in there and show you the stock exhaust, tear all that out, we'll do a side-by-side comparison, and then we'll get to fitting up some good stuff. This is the stock exhaust, pretty straightforward, pretty much the same as the turbo diesel 200s, but mildly different from the cat areas. So once again, to get this fellow out, it's the bolt from the top, not the underside. I know it looks like you can undo that, but you can't. But once you get that undone, tailpipe does come out without too many hassles. Doesn't hurt to cut it out though if you need to. Depending on your bolts, this is actually a really tidy truck. Depending on your bolts, if you can undo these, then go for it. If not, just cut it. They are dual wall-in sections, so if you're going to cut it, this is going to be cut here. And you see this one necks down slightly here. Cut it on this side, it'll be a little bit easier to cut. From there we've got 4 catalytic converters on this car. Primary, secondary catalytic converters. Same on each side. It's those guys there. We have 4 O2 sensors. That is your, well, they're O2 sensors. Some of them are doing more than others. That's your primary O2. We'll come back here to our secondary O2. The primary O2 itself is what trims your fuel. This one here is actually more looking at your cat converter condition. So we'll have to do something to trick that. So we're going to go from a stock standard cat converter to something much better flowing. So I'll show you the setup of what we're going to do there when we do the high flow cat, so we don't have engine lights on. Other than that, up in there is headers. I'm not going to go too far into it until we see them on the floor. They are not desirable and our upgrade is significant. So let's get to ripping it out. Alright, I've laid out both exhausts. Oh, we got the exhaust off the car. Not that one, that one. I've laid them both out in the ground so you can check out the ins and outs and the differences between the two. I'll start with our stock exhaust over here. We'll have a look at that, and then I'll go over what makes the new exhaust so much better than the stock one. So at the rear, we've just got the tip. That is literally a straight through resonator. Doesn't oppose a restriction. Tailpipe is not terrible. Just your typical chambered baffled muffler. Nothing too bad about those. Connecting pipes there. 4 cat converters like we spoke about on the car. They are a Euro 4 rated cat converter. They are quite restrictive. Just fold this one back here. So, where are we? Focus. Oh, there you go, there's a glimpse of it. Very dense core, and there's 4 of those, so there's more or less like hitting a wall. There's our O2 sensors that we spoke about before. Pretty straightforward. Now this is where it all comes to be, and this is where the gains come to be. Other than getting rid of those couple of cat converters out of the system, this is going to be our big game changer right here. This is the stock standard exhaust manifold from the passenger side of your 200 series petrol V8 Landcruiser. And as you can see, it is a pretty average design. Doesn't want to stay still for me. So we've got 1, 2, 3 cylinders that all tee in this main piece. And then improvement over the 100 series is the last cylinder does actually have its own pathway. What that is doing is, instead of this coming through and this one also being a part of it, it just allows this to flow a little bit better, and that has its own pathway. So these are better than a 100 series, but only marginally, and it's not much. But you also have EGR on these as well, which is not the world's greatest idea. So that's your EGR there. Same on the other side. Both manifolds kind of a mirror image. They sort of look the same. So with them out, which is the better part of a day, it's quite a task. This is our new system going in. Let's start at the back again, and we'll run through this bad boy. First up, tips. Yep, we go from that sad looking tip there. We're going to go to a big set of 3-inch dual wall polished stainless steel tips in the Pacemaker system. They are very nice. System itself is the Pacemaker King Brown. Is a twin 2.5-inch 409 stainless steel system. In this particular one, we've got the rear muffler and the middle muffler. They're both a straight through. They're actually the same muffler. You can also option this to have no rear muffler if you want a little bit louder, which does sound good too. Towing, not so good, but if you're not towing, you just want to sound good and have some flow, fantastic. All mandrel bent, hangers going back to all the factory locations. This is all bolt-in. we won't make any mods to fit this one up. They have a H pipe in the middle of them where the two pipes come together. Other than that, they're a twin 2.5 inch. They have a 100 cell 3 inch stainless steel core cat converter in them. So very high flowing cat converter. Stainless steel core, so it's going to last a really long time as well. All our O2s go back in. Like I say, it's totally bolt in, nothing gets changed. Now this is the big difference, is the header. A proper individual cylinder header. It's just so much better. I don't even think I really need to explain that too much. I'm going to put these two side by side. This is this one and this is this one. Surely we don't have to be really mathematical, scientific, spatial science engineer variety peoples to work out that that is going to make one hell of a difference to your poor truck. Each cylinder now has its own pipe, and it's going to have an incredible amount of flow, much better scavenging, so it's going to clear the cylinder better. We're going to better burn all round. It's going to give us better economy, and it's going to give it a better sound, and it's just going to be a fantastic vehicle all around. The low down power, like when you punch it in the soft sand, that's where this comes really alive on these trucks. So that is a lot of talking, and I'm sure you all get the idea that this is just going to be better. And at the end of the day, it will sound good too. So all of these benefits are about to come to life in this truck right here. So we will throw it back up in the air, load up some new gaskets, and get this stuff in there. This, for what it's worth, is how the headers come out of the car. You don't have to do it this way. If you wish to do it on your driveway at home, it can be done. You just have to set it aside a lot more time, basically. Wheels off is the better way of doing it. This is the way we do it. You can do it with wheels on as well. It's just incredibly time consuming. So with the wheels off and the inner guard out, you'll see you can actually gain some pretty good access to all the bolts in here. So that's a pretty simple, straightforward one. Alright, so there's the long and the short of that. Make sure you use good jack stands, keep everything up off the ground and safe. We've even left the bottle jack in there as an extra safety precaution to make sure we are not getting crushed, because everyone should go home at the end of the day. So yes, let's get this new stuff in there. Oh, that bracket's got to come off still. We'll get that bracket off. New stuff's going to go in there and we'll show you how that'll fit. Alright, that is the headers in. It's a bit of a job. It's going to take you a few hours, so settle in for the long run. Those bolts are going to be really finicky. EGRs are reconnected to it, so your computer will all be happy. Unfortunately on these you do need that, otherwise the computer will get very upset with you. And use a genuine gasket, don't use an aftermarket. The genuine gasket on these is such a good piece that we just use the genuine one instead of the part that comes with the kit. So toss that to the side and go with that. Other than that, we'll just bolt them all together. Cat pipes are going in. We've got the mid piece in, just hanging here at the moment, loosely bolted up. Tailpipe's still got to go in. That's coming next. It's over here on the bench. Does come with a set of tips. Quite a nice tip too. And then they slide on and lock into the inside section here. And then we just put a stitch weld back here. And I actually have the correct paint to paint match it. So we'll make it all look like it's meant to be there. Alright, these are the tips we have for the back. Come with the kit, nice bit of gear. They slide over this piece of pipe that's already here. And there is a recess in the end of it. And probably better see it from that end that it all slots into. So all we do is slide on over here, nice tight fit. And just keep there, you can feel it with your fingers until it lines up. Send it on home. Then all we're going to do is put a little bit of weld down each side of it, and we've got the right paint there to match that back up too. As far as putting the rest of the bits together, it is bolt together, so all we do is put some anti-seize on the bolts that you're going to get supplied with this kit. Lay all our nuts out, get everything in the right position, and then with all your gaskets, these ones are hanging here ready to go, we put a nice bead of silicone on the gaskets themselves. It does two things. It's going to help the gasket seal a little bit better, but it's also going to stop moisture and whatnot from the off-road lifestyle we love to live getting into all this gasket material and rusting out and failing a gasket prematurely. So bit of a double up there, but you can see the system all in. We've got our cat stoppers on. These get supplied with the system. They just space out your secondary O2 sensors when we go to a high flow catalytic converter, so that your computer is tricked into thinking that everything is still stock standard under here from the catalyst point of view. So that's all that in and done, bolted up at the front. We've got our bash plates back in this truck now. Mid system's all in, hanging. These are bolted up. All we gotta do is finalize this rear section, and we will be there and we'll be done. We get to hear this thing, and these things sound good. Alright, so Callum's just cleaning this up and he's getting upset that I'm videoing it before he's even finished cleaning it, but we just taped off the tip here where we've just touched it up with the paint, that way it leaves it nice. And we just put a stitch weld on it. It doesn't have to be a lot, because of the way they seat in the top there, they really locate and stay on there, so this is just to hold it, you don't have to weld it all the way out. Just a neat, simple little bit. Alright guys, here we are for finished product. All our bash plates are back on, wheel arches are back together, headers are all in there, O2 sensors are reconnected, same on both sides, cat pipes, we saw before our cat extensions or cat stoppers, and then our system just sets up in there really nicely. It's the mid pipe, it is balanced, comes through, these are just a straight through muffler. It's a twin 2.5 inch 409 system from Pacemaker, including the extractors and cat pipes up and over the diff. It's all pretty good up in there. And then as you saw before, we're setting those tips up, all nice and neat. Instead of a single tip, obviously now we have a big bad twin tip, which I like on this truck. I think it looks good. Personally, I'd probably paint this black, and I'll have a chat to the customer and see if they want that black, but it does come gold, and that is a distinctive part of the Pacemaker system, so that is a decision you can make too. That's pretty well it. I think we should need to take this thing out and test it, see how she sounds. But that's the install of the system and how it all works. Well, that does that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We shall, we'll catch you on the next one, I guess.